welcome back to Living History with Ted Goldsborough and Pat McCabe. We're continuing our discussion about Pat's childhood and about St. Matthias Church and the school. St. Matthias School did not have a kindergarten. It was grades 1 through 8. And Pat, I wonder if you could talk about some of these pictures.
Sure. Let's start with, I was in St. Matthias School from 1940 till 1948. I graduated in 1948. This picture is my second grade class in 1942. At one point I could, a few years ago, I could tell the names of all those kids, and if I worked hard at it, I could probably do the same thing today. But it was typical of the era. Great time.
During the war.
During the war. It's funny you mentioned that, because I don't know if I'm unusual in this sense, but at second grade, at age what, 7 or 8, I didn't have much recollection of the war going on. I was shielded from that at that stage. Maybe 3 or 4 years later, yes, I became more aware of what was going on in the world. But there's a typical picture of class of the era. Wooden school desks with an inkwell, and notice no computers, no cell phones, uniforms on the girls. Yes, boys had to be shirt and coat and tie, no sneakers, Oxford shoes. This is a picture of the school itself, the old school. There was subsequently built, probably 25, 30 years ago, a new school.
On Bryn Mawr Avenue, in Bala Cynwyd.
Yeah, at the same location.
Okay.
The old school was torn down, and the new school built adjacent to it. But many happy memories of going through the 8 grades of school in that building. And
about how many students, guess, in grades 1 through 8, about?
Well, here's a picture of second grade, and it looks like there was about 30 or 35 kids. Okay. And I think each grade was pretty much about the same.
Okay.
There weren't any tremendous population changes or anything in
one
those
nun
days.
Per class?
One nun per class, yes. Yes, and your subject matter was, of course, religion, arithmetic, English, history, and health. And there were a few extracurricular activities, but not many.
Yeah, I was going to ask, any gym?
During my time there was a basketball court built outside. There was no gym whatsoever in the school. There was an auditorium, but it was strictly for school functions and plays and things like that. But no gym.
No shop?
No shop, no, none of that kind of stuff. The outside activities were just sports, and there were sports teams. We had a 7th and 8th grade football team.
You played other
Catholic schools in the neighborhood, yes. Our arch-rival was St. Margaret's from Narberth, and they were always beating Dickens out of St. Matthias, because they were better coached, more well-trained, and there was more of a spirit there. Yes.
Now, thinking about the church, about how many parishioners might there have been? 1,000, 800?
I would imagine over 1,000, because back in the days when I was an altar boy, which was an assistant to the priests, the churches were filled for every Mass.
How many Masses?
On a Sunday, there would be 4 or 5 Masses, starting at 6:30 in the morning and going on till the 12:15. Do
you think this is true today at St. Matthias?
No. It's
fewer attendees?
Entirely different. The world's different. Religion in every sphere of it, every denomination is different. But those days as an altar boy, and it's just one thing just flowed to the other from the other. There was this picture we're looking at is the church. and the rectory, which was the home for the priests. And then behind that, not shown here, there was another home that was built for the nuns that worked in the school. That was on the Highland Avenue
So
side.
they didn't have far to go.
So no, they just walked across the back lot to their home. And as a kid, if you were called to the convent, you were in deep trouble, because there was some conduct that was not permitted, that you were going to be criticized or chastised for, or some sort of a punishment. But I didn't experience any traumatic hardships or anything like that from those days.
The physical, you didn't get your hands ripped?
I may have. Yeah, I may have, but I survived it. And I don't think it was all that bad. I thought it was a good learning experience, and required, I became a disciplinarian as a father myself, and I think it might be because of that.
Yes. And your siblings went through this school?
Yes, all my siblings went through it. Yeah, I have my sister and two younger brothers. I'm the oldest of four.
Okay.
Yeah.
When was this picture of you?
Oh my gosh.
7th grade.
Yeah.
I think it said 7th on it.
Did it say 7th grade?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the next year was your last year.
Yes. That was a picture of me when I had that inspiration from the nun, from Sister Camilla. So that's what I looked like at that time.
Okay.
And I was.
So you would have been about 12, 13 probably.
13 years old.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a year older than most of my classmates all through my schooling, and I always attributed that, Ted, to the fact that my mother loved me so much that she didn't want to give me up.
But it's good to do that, especially with boys. It's good to be older, because the girls are so much more advanced often than boys are.
Yeah.
So that's good.
And now there's these conscious decisions made by modern day parents to do that with children.
I agree.
This was not a conscious decision. I think
I
it was just a happenstance.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, at the church in the, 40s, it was during the Second World War,
yes.
A very unusual, unique thing happened. What was that?
The Von Trapp family of Sound of Music fame for a short while were residents of the Marion area, and they were parishioners at St. Matthias Catholic Church.
While you were there?
While I was there. And I recall that the Von Trapp family singers would come to our church at whatever Mass they attended and sing in the choir, or they were the choir, I don't know which.
Wow.
And, their singing was not the typical what you hear out of the Sound of Music across the Austrian Alps with the trumpets blaring. It was in Latin liturgical music that was appropriate to the Mass, to the services that were going on.
Did you know it was special at that time?
No, I had no idea.
Wow.
No, they were just, I guess the word foreigner. They were foreign and just different than everybody else. I mean, we were ethnically a very mixed parish, of immigrant children of families from different countries, Italy, Germany, Ireland, etc. But the fact that they didn't speak English was different for us, But other than that, we had no idea what their fame was going to be eventually.
Yes.
I just saw that movie about 2 weeks ago. My grandkids, and they
that's great.
Did
you tell them that you knew them?
Yeah.
By the way, for the public, turn towards the camera here. The home on Marion Road in Marion, Victoria Donahoe, who's a Narberth Roman Catholic, is working on getting a Pennsylvania historical marker erected on this property. And fortunately for her, the neighbors are all in favor of it. So pretty soon, we hope there will be a historical marker put up on that property.
As to where they lived.
Yes,
during their time
when they were here, before they went up to Vermont. Now, I think when you were a kid, or maybe it was your children, or
No, this is Captain
was
Kangaroo.
this the next generation?
1976. It's actually
okay.
my siblings, my younger siblings,
okay.
have more knowledge of this gentleman. He lived, his home was around the corner from our house on Conshohocken State Road.
Who was Captain Kangaroo?
His name was Bob Kershaw.
I think that's right. Something like that.
Yeah, Bob Kershaw. And he was one of the early cartoonish kind of characters in the early days of TV.
Okay.
Before Sesame Street.
Okay. Okay.
And of course the operation was over at Channel 10, which at the time was at the WCAU building, City Line and Monument Avenue.
Early television in Philadelphia.
By the way, my dad put the sewers in for that building too. Yes.
Isn't that
There's
something?
another sewer job of McCabe Brothers.
All right, now we got just a short time here, but we want to move down to Bala Avenue quickly and get that in.
Okay. Bala Avenue is our stomping grounds when we were kids. The Egyptian Theater, Pop Goldish's variety store next door to it, Kirsch Chevrolet up the street, the American store, forerunner of the Acme Market, on the corner of Montgomery and Bala Avenue, where the BMW dealer is today. All of those were a very important part of my growing up.
Did you work at the Egyptian Theater?
I did. Yes, Ted. I was an usher at the Egyptian Theater.
What'd you wear?
I wore what we used to refer to as the monkey suit. It was a tuxedo type thing with a dicky front to it, which you kind of slipped on under your over your T-shirt, and then put your jacket on. You had your pants, and you always had to wear black shoes. And of course, an usher, what did he do? He escorted the patrons to their seat with a flashlight.
Yeah.
You know.
Pat, this has been great, but we got to wrap it up.
Okay.
But we'll be back. We got more to talk about.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Thank you very much for being with us today, and we hope to have you back again.